This is just purely for, I mean, it's also for the love, the passion of the sport. At this point in time, and most Muay Thai fighters that come over here, are they really thinking about the roadmap of where this career could go? And that kind of leads into the question of, you are now fighting for the North American WBC title in New York. For any fighters out there that might be a bit confused on different promotions, where should you go? What are the better ones? How do we climb up in the rankings? Can you kind of paint the picture of someone going through the WBC, let's say, promotional career ladder? And what is the pinnacle of the top?
You start amateur locally. You try to be the best that you can be. Take as many fights as you can, smokers, whatever it may be. That's local. It doesn't matter. You win, you lose, just get the experience. And having fights will make you train that much harder in the gym. You know, some people, they worry about having to first get in. It's like the person that's like, oh, I need to get in shape before I go to the gym. You know, because I'm afraid of how I look in front of all the fit people. You have to shut all of that down and just do it. Mm-hmm. Just do it, Shia LaBeouf. Just do it. I ended up wanting to just fight. Like I said, I fought in the first 6 weeks. I didn't know if I was good or not. It was great that social media wasn't a big thing at the time because not everyone is watching and talking about it. But I was just getting in the ring, getting ring time. So you want to fight locally. You want to fight as much as possible. You take the smokers. You take the little fights in the basketball courts, whatever it is. Then maybe more on the regional circuit, whatever those local promotions are. Some of them are organized by WBC, some of them by WMO or WMC. And you work up the ladder, then you have the national tournaments. And that's really like where you get a lot of experience because you can fight 3 times in one weekend, 4 times in one weekend. And you do as many of those as possible once you have a few amateur fights or smokers. And then you try to fight everyone possible and become the best amateur because once you go pro, there's a lot less opportunities because they have to pay. You know, as an amateur, there's a million people to choose from, people figuring out if this is really what they want to do. Mm-hmm. So when you're an amateur, you should be competing as much as possible. That record resets anyways. So you shouldn't care too much about it. And then if you fight enough as a professional, it's almost the same. Like the Thais, they ask you, how many total fights do you have? They don't ask you about like your specific wins and losses. Once in a while you'll hear it. But most of the time it's about experience. Like how many fight. I remember being in the gym and a trainer telling me like, oh, he still knew like 90 fights, you know, like they view like having 100 fights as someone like, okay, you're ready maybe for Bangkok to start fighting in the stadiums and things like that. So you have to appreciate, again, that like long-term vision.
Do these people, for anyone out there in US or Europe, and like, is it a barrier to entry? Like you have to come to Thailand, you have to do it from here. Can they still go like through these national, and we talked about intercontinental, and then getting into the world rankings of WBC? Can you do that from your home country without having to come to Thailand?
World rankings, probably. Well, yeah, without having to come to Thailand, yes, but without having to fight internationally, no, because it's a world ranking. You know, you have to be able to fight names and people that have a ranking already in order to raise yourself up. You have to take it from someone. If there's no one to take from, then you're not going to be noticed, you know?
Yeah.
But it's a gradual process, right? Like, I always thought it was pretty easy. A lot of people think about it, I think, a little bit too much. Like, when do I move on to like fighting everyone on the East Coast? It's like, okay, once I'm the best and I fought everyone locally, okay, now when do I fight in the national circuit? Okay, once I fought everyone on the East Coast. Okay, now when do I go international? Okay, once I feel like I fought most of the guys and I'm at that level, and I've shown, or like, let's say I went 5 rounds with another like top ranked guy in my country. Okay, now we can go international. You can start in Thailand. There's so many people that have done it. And I think a lot of the time, it actually helps to have this experience with the as brutal as Muay Thai is, to do it the way it was always done, without shin guards, without headgear, go in, do it raw, and then the rest of it kind of seems like a walk in the park, you know, to put on shin guards, to put on headgear and do it that way.
If you enjoyed this content, we're doing 5 clips like this a week. If you want to watch the full podcast, click here.